I don't like the owl looking at
So should
I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Newburyport Historical Commission. Thursday, February 25th, 2026. We're here at the Senior Community Center and also on Zoom. And please note that this meeting, along with any city meeting, is being recorded. With that, I'll start roll. Andrew Bernhardt. Here. Mark Sandron. Up here. Scott Clark. Here. Chris Fay. Up here. Alan Marquis. Here. Ed Normer. Here. Glenn Richards.
Here via Zoom. I trust you can hear me? Yes? No?
Can you hear us?
Hey, I hear you. You don't hear me?
Yeah. All right, we hope that works. All right, Chris Hotel here. And the chair, Ms. Faust, that's me. I'm here. We also have Andy Port and Caitlin Sullivan from the planning department and Gretchen Joy taking notes for us. First up is a demolition delay, 26 Oakland Street. Our representatives here. All right, if you could just give your name and address for the record and
Jean Allen, JMA Architects, 4 New Street, Newburyport, Massachusetts.
Tony Pinocchio, DTE Homes, 17 Berman Lane, Hampton Falls, New York.
all right, thank you. So we're here for a demolition delay here and just to remind some folks on just kind of procedure of it. Basically, first, we're going to weigh in on the historical significance of the building. And if we find that it's historically significant and considered for preservation, we can have, that can be 1 or 2 votes. If we find both of those things, if and only then we'll move on to looking at whatever plans we have. If we don't find in the affirmative of both of those, then this meeting is kind of over for at least for us.
Okay.
So.
I have hard copies.
Oh, sure, if you'd like to, we'll use the screen, but if you have some, you'd like to hand out that. But so if you'd like to start with just the historical, whatever information you have historically on the home.
Sorry, that's that. Yeah. I think we're considering looking for ourselves. Yeah, that should be good. No shit. That's true. I can share.
All right, so the home was constructed around 1885. And the way it's situated on the street, it's a non-conforming property, it's too close to the setbacks. So we're dealing with getting a special permit, that's our next meeting, but anyhow, the house is classified as a side entry Italianate home. And the homeowners, a young family, would like to restore the house, replace the windows, clean up the siding, but basically keep the main massing. We're not changing into the massing of the house. And we're not changing the architectural styling of the house. We're basically restoring the structure. as well as, adding a second floor expansion to gain an extra bedroom on the second floor.
Okay, we'll just keep to for now, just the historic
Okay,
nature of it, and then we'll get into that as.
all right, let's get a 12 pitch, gable end roof. A lot of crown molding on the front, on the gable ends. And it's clad with clapboard siding, cedar siding, which we're going to restore and repaint. We would like to remove the side porch and reconstruct a new porch that's just basically along the front of the structure. But the side porch is in poor condition. It has posts which I think are from a different era, more like the 60s. And it's got a bit, the balusters are, also from the 60s. So remove the side porch, restore the porch that's on the left-hand side, replace the baluster, the steps, clean it up. Keep the front doors. The doors are, I believe they're original to when the house was constructed.
What's that there?
And replace the windows, with, simulated divided light windows.
Right, yeah, we'll, like I said, we'll get into your, I guess, intentions after we, weigh the historic stuff, but I appreciate that, but thank you. Do we have any questions, comments from the board or significant of it? So do we know, you had mentioned, the porch, you're saying that the material or the styling from like the 1960s, is that weird, or?
The posts, the columns
Mhm.
that are supporting the roof of the porch, those seem to be from a different era. As well as the balusters. And so, I mean, I don't consider those historically significant and they don't seem to match. I think they were done at a later time.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out like how much later, there looks like there's some.
Dimensional lumber, so one of the things, it appears to be dimensional lumber 2x6
Okay,
in there, and those are 4x4 pressure treated posts.
okay,
Onto a sonotube for, so clearly, I might assume even more modern, like 1980s.
okay, and you're talking about the ones that look like they're
Yeah,
like wood turned sort of?
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
right here.
Okay.
The idea was that this is actually being held up temporarily by. Maybe
Yeah, I saw that.
the side
Yeah.
picture, it's coming up now, so the idea was to take that and basically just do grass.
Okay.
And try to give some more.
but those posts and
Yeah.
parts look like they're much more modern.
Yeah,
wood.
it's
Okay,
definite dimensional lumber for sure,
Okay.
right?
that's good to know.
Yeah, on the other porch as well, if you can see just the other boards, so it's all dimensional lumber, somebody did something at some point to make repairs. That, or completely replace, but not move, and everything is dimensional, 4x4 pressure treated with sonotubes.
Yeah. And I mean, now that you're saying it, like if, as a side hall Italianate, if you look around town, most of them wouldn't have any sort of entryway, or if it was, it would be just a sort of hooded.
Yeah,
thing.
a little doghouse entry type thing.
Yeah, so that does make more sense, but just from the pictures, it's hard to tell, or even from, I've been by the building many times, it looks like they're older than it is, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, any others on the
Yeah,
district?
we're talking about the dimensional posts there. So the roof structure over the porch, does that have the same type of wood, or is that older, or?
So that at some point, somebody applied what appears to be like MDO or MDF roof, which is down.
Okay.
Yeah, but so there definitely was a rework at some point, and it appears to be MDO that's well past its life.
Mm-hmm.
But not something that was like, there's no boards, no tongue and groove, it's not what you typically would see, like a wooden product, it's more of a composite or some type of product that was installed and is failing.
Mm-hmm.
Were there any pictures of, a little bit closer of that porched in area?
Yeah, there's a picture of the side, Biff, on the Jackson. Yeah, there it is.
But, yeah, I see your hand up now. I'm sorry. I couldn't.
Yeah. I just had a quick question. You guys are talking about dimensional lumber. I assume you're talking about the between the ground and the porch level, because like obviously those look like 4x4s or whatever. But the actual columns or posts, I should say, of the porch itself, and the balusters to me look like 19th century balusters and posts. And if they're not rotted, you might be able to, or we would encourage you to, reuse those if they're not rotted out in the new, in your new porch idea. But that's a discussion for later, I suppose. But I don't see, maybe there's some on the floor of the porch, of that porch, maybe there's some dimensional lumber there as well. But I don't understand why you're saying the balusters and those turned posts are from the 60s. Those, to me, look very much like 19th century items.
You have, well, I guess that's, maybe I'm confused now. So are those whites, all those white columns and everything look to be?
Yeah, to me, they look like they were replaced at some point.
Yeah.
And not something that's 100-something years old.
Yeah.
They're probably about 25, 30 years old.
Right.
Do you have any historical, what do they call the map? Sandborn maps that would indicate whether that porch existed or when it came on?
No, I don't have any historical information on this house.
If I could say, that strikes me as Home Depot from the 1980s.
It looks just.
That's how it looks to me,
It looks
but,
just. Yeah, those are 2x6. So yeah, so. And
So if it's on sonotubes.
Is kind of a giveaway. Yeah, then yes.
All right. Any other questions, comments? We could make a motion, we can group them together, make a motion that the structure at 26 Oakland Street is historically significant and should be considered for preservation. Anyone want to make that?
Sure, Biff, if you can hear me, I'll make that. The structure is historically significant and should be considered for preservation.
All right, thank you, Glenn. And second. All right, so the motion is structure at 26 Upland Street is historically significant and should be considered for preservation. Scott?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Glenn?
Sorry, I was
Glenn?
muted. Yeah, sorry, I was muted there. Yes.
Yes, thank you. Chris?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well, so that motion passes. All right, so we can now move on to the review of your demolition plan. So if you want to, if you have plans, you can walk us through what you're
sure,
proposing.
if you look at the existing elevations, it's dotted in what is to be demolished. So all of the windows are going to be removed and replaced. We do have a few openings that will be incorporated with the addition. Like the addition is going to go right here, so these window and door units will be removed. And then we've reconfigured these windows. And then there's a mudroom that's added here, but we will have a door at the mudroom. And we are proposing that this porch be removed. And we're gonna reconstruct a new porch across the front. And we'd like to extend this porch an extra foot to bring it closer to the street. On the next slide. So this shows the side porch being removed. This access to the basement will be removed and filled in. And this is the previous owner was constructing a deck and put the posts in and never completed the deck, so we'd like to remove that And that's where the addition will go, the bedroom addition. And then on the next one. So we'd like to remove the columns and the balusters and reconstruct those. And then there's the part of that half constructed deck that will be removed. And it's on the next one. Okay, that's the floor plan. So the proposed, we're showing a newly constructed deck across the front, or porch across the front. Newly constructed porch on the side. And then, on the back side of the house, this is the bedroom addition. And this is the new mudroom. And on the next one. So this section here is new. And so the side deck, we're adding a window, the side deck is now, the side porch is removed. And we have just the front porch. And on the, okay, and so there is the side view of the newly constructed front porch and the newly constructed side porch. And the new mudroom. And the bedroom expansion on the second floor. Any questions?
The porch on the left side elevation, is that also sitting on sonotubes? Is it, or is it an older?
From what I can tell, we've got some of it's kind of built up, but it seems like there are some sonotubes supporting that.
And are the new addition, is that gonna be cedar clapboard?
Yeah, the clapboard is.
Just clapboard, cedar.
Yeah, it's all cedar clappers, now we're gonna maintain
We're gonna
that.
maintain the look, yeah. Yeah.
Question for me, Glenn. The new windows. Can you tell us what kind of windows those are going to be? In terms, we're mostly concerned about the muntins. Are they going to be simulated divided lights with three-dimensional muntins, or what?
They're simulated divided light windows. We haven't selected a manufacturer. Could be Anderson. It's just a aluminum clad wood window. It could be Anderson, it could be Harvey, but it's just a 2/1 window pattern.
Okay, what I'm getting at is in a historic house like this, you'd want to see a three-dimensional muntin. In other words, not the divider between the glass type of thing, but an actual, divider that projects on either side. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think you would gain that with the simulated divided light window. It looks like.
Yeah, if it's the kind of I'm thinking of, you would have external divisions. The glass itself might not really be separate panes, right? Because it's a thermal glass and all that, but it has. Okay, I think you've answered that question. One other quick question is, in the drawings here, it looks like you're going with square columns or posts on the new porch. Is there any reason why you decided not to continue that kind of more historic look of the turned posts that are there now?
Yeah, we can do that. I think we just did that for drawing, but we can try to mimic what's there proposed.
I just thought the post should have a little bit more mass.
Yeah.
Because they seem to
Very narrow, yeah.
narrow.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that it would make the porch look better by having a heftier post rather than the later one.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know the age of the current windows, or at least the majority of them?
They're replacements.
Okay.
They look like probably 1990s replacements.
But the front door definitely looks original. I mean,
Yeah.
they're very narrow. I don't think you'd even be able to do that anymore.
Front door is original.
Do we know about, there's currently like kind of two doors on this left this elevation we're looking at, there's one we're not seeing that's going to the.
Right,
And you're removing one of those, is that right?
yes.
Okay, and are either of those, like historic doors, or are they?
No, they're modern,
Okay.
just standard exterior doors you find, probably like a Home Depot type of door.
I couldn't tell from the drawings, is the new left side porch gonna have a stairway going down the side and the front, or just down the side?
Just on the side
Side, so
We
it's
want
gonna
to
be a,
connect that, we can.
to the backyard.
okay.
Um,
If I could also say, I would argue that if the porches are sitting on sonotubes and the posts are, to my eye, visually thin,
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily seek to emulate that. I would visually want
Yeah, we would like to improve them and make them more substantial.
more
Right.
substantial.
Yeah, like I don't like it being on 4x4s, it goes more substantial. Awesome.
Do we know about the footprint of the home? Because the foundation looks like it extends like all the way back beyond kind of the main structure.
It's the original foundation, it's great.
So that sort of L that looks like it was maybe added with maybe very like original to the building.
Right.
You think?
Do you think the foundation was all original?
Yeah, the foundation appears to be all original, that.
And like in
In the
the
back
basement,
section
you can
also.
go all the way, like,
Yeah.
okay.
At some point, it appears that you can see that back section today where they have those posts sticking up in the air,
Hmm.
completely remodeled that. There's a whole new kitchen, well, not new, but all new plywood, sheet rock, no more plaster. So everything in this area here that exists today that we can see has been completely replaced.
Hmm.
So then they, like I said, they were trying to go up and then they just stopped,
Sure.
which has actually caused a lot of water penetration and damage as a result of that.
Can we take a look at the view from Jackson? The new elevation? Yes. So we've discussed before, where someone's put an addition on, we want to have some delineation potentially to let us know that that's not part of the original structure. Do you want to consider that here, or is that?
Yeah.
And
You can see it from the roof line, for sure.
Yeah, the roof line,
Generally, and this one's interesting because the bottom floor is already extended past there.
Right.
But yeah, generally, like when these additions go on, they should be subservient to the original structure. They should be set back or at least delineated in a way that someone can look up and say, oh, that's new, that's old.
We're trying to do that with the roof ultimately.
Well, the roof line drops,
Yeah.
and so it kind of defines that back area.
Sure, but I mean, like from this elevation, it appears as one solid mass, which I think.
Yeah.
Generally, like we would like to see some sort of like the corner board extend up from where that
Oh, yeah.
original
So
thing was,
like
or
a
Like when it
trim.
yeah.
Okay,
I mean, it is kind of an odd thing, because that
That's
addition is
Yeah,
wonky, right? So it's a little oddball.
yeah, so we figured the roof, you can clearly see from the
Yeah.
side and the front that is the
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's and having that set down from height is
Right.
for sure.
right.
Can I just ask, the purist in me tells me, this was originally an Italianate, perhaps by the double doors. And I think it's a huge improvement from what your intent, or what exists.
Yeah,
But when I look at the front porch, what I see is a bay window that looks like there's only gonna be about 18 inches between that and the balusters.
Right,
So that the bay window, the porch itself isn't,
isn't as deep.
it's almost like it's not gonna be a porch, right? A function is a
Functional
porch.
like that, rather, yeah.
I mean, it does form an entryway, you do step onto a porch
Right,
to enter the building.
right.
But
Yeah,
no,
you're limited.
the
by
bay
structure.
window would project out into the porch.
And to the point where you wouldn't even be able to really sit up there.
Correct.
Well, we can,
Yeah, they just follow the old footprint as far as the location goes. And more or less, right?
Yeah,
It's already
it's the
extended up and you're
same
just
line,
continuing it
the
down.
same depth
the front.
of the porch, yes, just continuing that.
Yes.
Any other comments, questions from the board? We can open up for a public comment. If there's anyone online who would like to make a comment about this proposal, you can raise their hand. If there's anyone here in the room that would like to make a public comment, they can let themselves be known. Yes?
I wasn't gonna comment.
Okay,
I
give your,
can't resist.
give your name.
Tom Overjohn, 64 Federal Street.
Thank you.
It's really one thing about the bunk out, the projector windows in the front. They appear to be an early feature, from what I can tell. I haven't seen the building in person, but they appear to be an early feature, a prominent feature in the front of the building. And putting a porch in front of it is a little odd. That's all. It just doesn't quite make sense.
Great, thank you.
I don't disagree.
Anyone else online or here? Public comment? No? All right, now close public comment. We can open it back up for discussion. Yeah, I mean, I do agree. I think if you're gonna do anything with that front porch, I mean, when I first saw pictures of it, it looked like they might be original. Because it looks kind of late Victorian porch details. But if that porch is not that original and seems to be made out of modern stuff, I'm not too worried about that. But I agree. I don't like the idea of building out that porch in front of arguably one of the more kind of unique features of the building.
Agree.
I understand the point kind of trying to do it, but I think it would almost it would be closer to its original style if it, like I said, probably what it had originally. Like if it was a step up to that, and you could still have a nice large kind of welcoming area with a little roof over it, which is the function you want to get out of it, but without blocking that physical asset.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm a big advocate of a covered front door, but as Italian eggs go, that's not what you would typically see. But it's a sort of like I would argue that feature
So,
it should stay.
yeah, I think in terms of and speaking for the homeowners as well, if we were to kind of list the priorities as well, the back addition, that being able to give them that extra bedroom is like absolutely critical.
Right.
Right, the porch, we wanted to talk about the porch as an option.
Yeah.
But and that's hey, let's discuss it, and if we can,
Right.
but ultimately, the goal is, in terms of priority, the back is most important, and then the porch, if we determine. Hey, it is what it is, just make it look brand
100%.
new, then I think that we'd be okay with that.
Well, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but have you thought about like ultimately kind of replacing the porch layout as it is, but just with more appropriate and solid?
We considered that as well,
Yeah.
We just figured that this kind of connection.
Yeah, this works. I mean,
It looks like a little bit more dramatic
Yeah.
from the street, right? That was the idea, and it doesn't really affect the home necessarily, but with the exception of, to be fair, I agree that bay window is a beautiful feature.
yeah.
But I can just see, because it's on that corner from the hill, like to be able to sit on that kind of side might be also kind of nice. I just wondered if you had thought about
We've considered a few things,
Okay.
and then again, the prioritization for the homeowners as a growing family is that back addition is
Yeah.
critical.
So the porch itself is
Let's talk
a
about it.
visual feature more than a practical.
Correct.
They're gonna live in the backyard or on the back patio.
Right, we'll talk about it, we can come to a conclusion, we'll work together on a conclusion, but we're really hoping for the back additions.
Yeah, I have no problem with that at all.
Biff?
Yes, Glenn.
Yeah,
We can,
a couple of quick comments. First of all, to your comment, Biff, about the the setback type of thing for that side on Jackson Street. I normally would make that same argument. I think there's a little bit of a mitigation here in the fact that the existing is that same footprint and doesn't really have any. The only demarcation today is that roof change. So I would, I wouldn't worry as much about that. I think that the porch, though, I'm agreeing with both Mr. Coulter, John, and I think others on the board mentioned that. First of all, it's I don't think in reality I doubt you'd get much use out of it because of its size and the fact that you've got the bay window there. And it really, when you look at that, the right-hand side of this thing that's up right now, you can see how busy it gets with the balusters and the posts, in front of that bay window. I really think this applicant would be happier with something that would be very appropriate and traditional for an Italian-style house, which is just a bracketed, small bracketed roof over the door, and but no porch. Let the classic, let that bay window have its glory, blah blah blah. But but you'd still have some protection from the elements getting into the house and so on. That would be my suggestion as far as what would be most appropriate.
I think that would be acceptable. I don't.
Yeah, the front, most people are gonna be coming in through the back door, side door, so could you lose the porch and just have a close at a bracketed.
Yep.
That'd be an acceptable alternative for us, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's.
Any other questions, comments about? So what we will want to do next is to move towards a motion that the structure is preferably preserved, which would put it under the demo delay if it passes. We can then discuss how we move forward if that's the case. If we want to make amendments to, or if we want to have them come back or approval. But if anyone wants to make a motion that the structure at 26 Oakland Street is preferably preserved, I'd take that.
I'll make that one.
Thanks, Scott. Second.
Second.
Thank you. All right, so the motion on the table is that the structure at 26 Oakland Street is preferably preserved. Scott?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Glenn?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. The motion passes. So technically the home is under a 1-year demo delay. It can be lifted if we vote to approve the plans. I think it's apparent that there's several changes we probably would like to see. Anyone have any thoughts about that? I mean,
So can I,
sure.
so these homeowners are trying to move, they've already purchased a house or need to live in the house in the summer.
Yeah.
So that means that including putting the back addition on as well.
Mhm.
So really, we wouldn't be able to move forward the back.
So you would like to move forward as quickly as possible.
Yeah, it's critical for the.
Yeah, okay.
It's actually.
I mean, basically, it's just the front porch and then adding a trim board on the side,
We would,
right?
Well, no, but remove the existing one, like we were talking about.
no, what I'm saying, we would leave the porches completely intact as is and focus exclusively on the back. The back, just putting on that back addition on top of the existing would be that's what we would focus on. We would leave everything else as is, right?
Is there, it'd be a 2 weeks, right, is the next meeting? Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you come back to us with a rethought front porch, and would that jettison your timeline?
Well, we're proposing that we just don't touch the front porch, just leave it the way it
Leave
is,
it, we can just repair.
We're gonna clean it up.
correct But not touch it.
but not touch it.
It is absolutely critical that we get this back addition.
All right, well, I mean, in that case, it depends on how we're feeling and what we want to, what changes we would like to see.
Yeah. Yeah, this is Glenn again. I think, sounds like the applicant heard that 1 year demo delay and is worried about that. There's two things we could do here. As Biff says, we're gonna vote on the plans. Now, we could either have you come to like the next meeting with drawings that eliminate the front porch, whatever you we decide to do there. But or it's sometimes we incorporate, we'll have a motion to approve the plans with one or more modifications. It's a little bit, it always makes me a little nervous. It's better to have, an agreed upon set of plans that everyone can see and agree to, but that is also a possibility as well. But it from what I'm hearing, I don't think you'd have to worry about having to delay everything for a year. We just, there's a couple of details to iron out, and then you guys would be all set.
We have the zoning, on March 10th, the zoning, right, and we're gonna focus exclusively on that back addition.
Right.
That's what, right, the porches to us were the discussion point, but it's not a critical piece.
Right.
Well, from our perspective, though, in order to lift your demo delay, we have to be satisfied with the plans, and approve the plans. So it's more of just kind of what we want to see, and if we're comfortable.
Is there a way to craft the motion?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we've done that
it?
too. We can say, we approve the motion, with the exception that the front porch will remain as is.
Or removed with a period appropriate Italianate bracket.
Well, right.
Could that be done?
Well, yeah,
I'm not
either
sure.
or, right, but that's what I'm saying, it might be more beneficial to wait the 2 weeks and have you think about exactly what you want on there. Show us, we can say yes or no, that's approved, and then the process moves on from there. Cause for me, I'm worried that there's a couple little things we wanna see, and if we're trying to craft the motion real specifically, it gets difficult. That's our
Can you show
concern.
E4? Go back to. So basically, what we would do, if we go back to E4, existing 4. That right there. Basically, that's what we're proposing. Instead of dotting it in, we're not gonna touch that porch. And so I don't know, I'm hoping that we can avoid coming back, because we really need to get this family in this house. And we're not gonna touch the porch, we're gonna keep it the way it is.
Right, we'll just.
That is what we're proposing right there.
Right there.
And then on the side elevation, we're gonna add a trim board to sort of break up the massing a little bit.
Yep.
So I don't know if it's worth coming back just to show that trim board. I mean, can we just do conditional approval? We add the trim board and we don't touch the porch.
What trim board are you referring to?
Oh, she's talking about where the addition is gonna go, which I think is.
Well, what you were talking about, whether or not we thought was appropriate to add that trim to
Oh,
designate.
okay. Yeah, as if there was a corner board there. Okay.
And I'm kind of with you on that. I don't know that's since
Yeah.
it technically is part of the original massing. I don't know.
I brought that up just because so we'd be consistent.
Right.
But if we feel like it's really not going to, in this case, it's not as important because of that original massing.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
it might look kind of goofy, actually.
Might.
Could I?
Does the board have a general opinion? Would we rather keep it exactly like it is, or would we rather see something that might have been more originally appropriate, like we're talking like a small bracketed roof?
Could I argue that it's gonna be, your least expensive option is to demo that and put a bracket on the, above the front door? That's your least expensive, rather than redoing it beautiful, make the house beautiful and have to fix up and repaint balusters from 1985.
Right, but we might sort of suggest that we'll.
Can we still do the zoning hearing if we have it
Probably wanna request a continuance 2 weeks out.
2 weeks out for that zoning hearing?
Yeah.
Yes, I think
What
that's
do you wanna do?
a challenge for us. Because for us, if we were to. The thing that we care about the most is the back of that house for living space. And we would come back and apply for another permit for the decks and the porches. We would literally say we're gonna, at this point, because given the budgets and expenses that we have, it's so critical that we get them in the house and we deal with the back for living space, that we would come back and treat that as a separate thing altogether. Right, and then we give ourselves the time, but when we know what we have to do in the home is some of the things, because I think I mentioned there's been a lot of water penetration due to the lack of the steps. There's a lot of work we have to do to make it even livable. And there's some, literally, that's it. So we need your help.
So we'd say we approve the back while leaving the front as an.
Well, I would say that we approve the best way to probably to word it would be that we approve the plans with the change of leaving the existing porch as is.
Sure.
So
That's your preference?
yeah, it would be pragmatic. Well, also, but in this particular case, if we didn't have as much damage that happened in the home, then we can't move it.
Got
That's the what we're up against. So if the porch is gonna be way till later, we'll have to wait till later. We decided.
Yeah. Yeah, just to make sure I'm clear on this, so it sounds like because of your guys, the applicant's situation, you'd like to focus on the rear to get that, room and get the family moved in, et cetera. So the most efficient path forward for you, if I'm correct, is that forget about the front for now, just leave it as it is. Get your approval to proceed with the plans to do your addition on the back. And if and when you've got the time, money, whatever, to fix up the front better, you'll come back for that? Or do you think you'd still replace windows and stuff, or just focus on the back for the sake of time?
So the windows themselves are gonna stay in the exact same format, but they're a lot of family windows as well.
So
We're gonna replace them with, but like, we're not changing the sizes
Okay.
of moving, it's just replacing.
Yeah, where the openings aren't changed. Yeah, you can do that. All right, so yeah. So I think I heard someone who's just basically approving the plans from the middle to that affect the rear, and not go forward with any of the plans on the front. Am I understanding it correctly?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would specify that strictly the porches remain as is, but just to clarify that the windows need to be.
Both porches or
Well,
just that front porch,
the right side.
right? So the way I would word it then is motion to approve the demolition plan and lift the demo delay to structure 26 Oakland Street, with the exception of leaving the current front porch. Is that? If somebody could make that motion.
I make the motion.
He's got, and a second? Alan? All right, so motion to approve the demolition plan and lift the demo delay to a structure at 26 Oakland Street with the exception of leaving the current front porch. Scott?
Yes.
Alan Marquis?
Yes.
Ed Dormer?
Yes.
Glenn Richards?
Yes.
Chris Littell?
Yes.
I'll vote yes as well. So that motion passes and you're all set.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, just one quick comment. I've passed that house many times, and it needs some love. So I'm happy to see you guys fixing it up.
We gotta stop the water getting in there if it's back, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Right.
You clearly push things along in a way that.
All right, so next up is DOT advisory for 9 Center Street.
I didn't really notice much when I saw it on this afternoon. Yeah.
And thank you. And before we get started, I want to try to clarify kind of the scope of what this review should be under the zoning ordinance. From my understanding, because the house was listed as minor contributing, that is putting it in, that it's not historic under the definition of the downtown overlay district. I don't know how many times I read over that rule for the last few days, and it doesn't make clear whether contributing and minor contributing should be considered in the same boat, or they're completely different. Often if they're left out, that would be legally the same as it meant to be left out, but that, I don't know what the original intent was. But as far as my understanding, what we'll be looking at, that we're not gonna be looking at the actual structure, but more of what will be replacing it. And it's whether it's this proposed new building would be appropriate, both in size, scale, material, et cetera, for where it'd be located. But we can start and we can get into that discussion a little bit.
Yeah.
More as this moving.
Can I make a quick comment, Biff, please?
Yes.
Yeah, I wrestled with that same thing because when I first heard that argument that you just made, my thought was, oh, that's crazy, right? But I went and looked at and then I looked through this presentation we're about to see, went to the definitions for the downtown overlay district ordinance, and it turns out that the city apparently has different definitions for what makes a historic structure historic or not. And in the downtown overlay district, the way I read it is pretty much as you just said, that it defines 3 ways a structure can be historic. It's listed individually on the National Register or the State Register. This clearly is not. Was listed as contributory, and it specifically says contributory. And the district data sheets, or C, subsequent, is added as a contributing thing. So I'm some people may be disappointed, some people elated, but that seems to be what we're dealing with. So yeah, I was skeptical of that argument, but apparently that is the way the ordinance is written.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, please.
Concerning contributing and minor contributing and what's the last sentence there? Intrusive. Based on the district data sheets, I was taking a look through the data sheets, and I just looked through streets A through C and found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mistakes. And they're right here. Minor contributing 7 Brown Street, right next to Oak Hill. This should have been updated because this is now contributed, but it hasn't done. Brownfield Court School. That is minor contributing. It's an old repurposed school, just like the Kelly School. Is that a minor contributing as well? Okay, there's also farther down the street on Brownfield Court is it's an INT. And this one has a question mark next to 1900. It's actually built in 1889. And it's that's what it's listed. The next ones were 30 and 32 Bromfield Street, minor contributing. That house isn't even there anymore. There's a new one there. It was built in 2010. It's not even there. All right, next one. This one's my favorite. On Bromfield Court, it has number 2 Bromfield listed as a bungalow style. Yeah, no one can see the picture, but that's clearly a basic Greek revival. It has the one next door listed as Greek revival. And number 2, the little bungalow one, was minor contributory, and that one was built in 1952. So this one should have been an INT at the very least, going by the data sheets. So when it comes to demolishing a old structure in Newburyport, especially in the DOD, based on data that's 42 years old and hasn't really been updated, is a kind of a slippery slope, I believe. I'm very concerned about it. And the data sheet has it listed as a minor contributor. And just on a little side note, the historic presentation that was put into the notes has a map from 1884 where you can count 11 dwellings on Center Street. From those 11 dwellings, there's 5 in existence today. And possibly 4. I know things change and whatnot, but you know, this is all, and it's all based on not really, this is good reference, but I don't think it's good enough to base a demolition on myself. That's all.
Thank you. All right, well, with all that said, let's continue on. We have some applicants here are probably ready to go. If you'd like to give your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good evening. My name is Douglas Deshane. I'm an attorney with Finner and Nicholson here in Newburyport. With me this evening, Kevin Saba, who is the owner and proponent of this project. Scott Brown from Scott Brown Architects, and Nick Cracknell, who is our land use consultant. Everett Chandler, our engineer, was unable to be here tonight, but you, for the most part, have the majority of our team, so here we are. Can I go to the next slide, please? All right, just to give you a quick project summary, my client would like to raise the existing structure at 9 Center Street so that a new 4-unit bed and breakfast, which is a by right use in the zone, can be developed on the site. My client and his wife have been in the hospitality business for over 40 years and will be occupying and running the B&B as their retirement activity to keep them busy. As determined by your zoning officer, and this does get to the topic you just mentioned, we were originally told that the structure being located in the downtown overlay district, and so that we were required to obtain a DOD special permit with an advisory review from you in order to ultimately demolition the property. So let me give you just a quick rundown on the historic stuff, right? That's important stuff. The assessor's card indicates this building was built around 1850. The building is located in the 1984 National Register District, as was stated. It was designated as MC, or a minor contributing structure. And there was some definition to that, or some additional support, which stated that it's a structure which appears to predate 1975, which is similar in scale and materials to its neighbors, but which has undergone major alterations such that its period of origin cannot be readily determined. I did review the Macris database and revealed that the property was listed as a listed property, NWB 1171, and of course it is shown on Macris maps. I also pulled the Newburyport district data sheet, which I'll show you in a moment. And again, as was mentioned, we have collected some Sanborn maps, and we were provided some maps from the historian who did our report. So we'll show you those maps. And then, of course, I just want to reiterate the fact that we did provide you a historical report that was prepared by Lisa Mossoff for us. So next page is the essentially just the building detail for NWB 1171. Pretty limited in scope, but nevertheless, it does provide verified information we just provided. The next document is a copy of the district data sheet, and again, as we've discussed, the date of construction, it listed as mid-19th century, which clearly is in line with 1850, but then there's a notation to 1970s. And that was interesting, and we have done some research and have come across just a variety of different facts and figures that indicate that this house may have actually been moved from the waterfront to this location. But I wasn't able to verify that, through any records. And maybe I need to dig deeper, but we couldn't find anything, although Kevin has indicated that the gentleman who sold him the house told him that story, that the house had originally been down on the waterfront and had been moved to this location. And when we get to the Sanborn maps, like, we point out to you some of the questions that have come from this inquiry, but nevertheless, you know, my presentation, what we're gonna tell you, has been based on the fact of what we know. And that is, it appears this house was built in 1850, and it is there today. It's shown on Sanborn maps, or at least a structure, but it was there. So with that, I'm just for a moment gonna pass things over to Scott, and I'd like to have him give you an explanation of those Sanborn maps and what they not only showed us, but the question they raised as far as, is this house that's there today a part of what was originally there, or was it later moved to the site? You know, I mean, we're not arguing that the structure itself wasn't built in 1850, but I just wonder if it was built there. But again, I'd like to let,
So, you know, unfortunately, we didn't find any evidence. Doug didn't find that, and neither did our preservation consultant, any evidence that this was in fact moved. And when I saw these Sanborn maps, I was pretty, you know, I was convinced that the map on the bottom is from 1894. I was pretty convinced that at least a portion of that, what we're seeing there, is in fact the same footprint that we have on site today. And if you can see, in a minute, we'll go through the existing condition plans. This is the subject structure, subject parcel, has like a little sort of side addition and an addition on the back that is a different scale of the addition that's on the back today. And I was pretty convinced that this was, you know, the footprint that's there today. But today I did notice that it's in a different location. And I want everybody to kind of remember this here. And this sort of pink structure here, this is 10 Center Street, which is PortMedia. This right here is 18 Center Street. And right here, this is the parking lot for PortMedia. This is the 11th Center. So I want everybody to kind of remember the relationship of this to that parking lot across the street, in particular, and in particular, the relationship of this to 18 Center as we sort of move through this presentation, because I think that is either not the structure that's there now, or in fact, it was moved over closer to 11th Center.
Just a quick question.
Yep.
What's the foundation? Is it a built stone foundation?
Good question. I'll show that. It's a part of the structure does not appear to have any foundation, and part of the structure does have at least the main box, and it's a 16 by 24 box, which is a very odd shape. That portion of the box does appear to have kind of an older brick foundation with no development access, no basement either. So next slide, please, Katie. Next slide. So just basically an aerial view from the city mapping system, and you can start to, you know, a little bit difficult to see here because this is not sort of like a completely sort of straight on view, but you can start to see the relationship of the, you know, subject parcel, the structure that we're talking about, and its relationship to 18th Center. And what we were seeing in the Sanborn maps was further to the north. We just go back on the Sanborn maps. And at least right here, I think it's fair to say that the distance between 11th Center is at least 2 times the width of that. Next slide. So this is our existing conditions site plan. 11th Center Street to the left. This is a very quirky parcel. It's has a lot of lot lines that aren't orthogonal. There's some jogs in the back of the lot, and there are a lot of sort of restrictions here, which make this sort of a very difficult project. On the left side, there is a driveway easement, and this is currently the deeded parking space for the folks on 11th Center. So this is an easement, an access easement to their parking space in back. Off of Center Street, there are also four parking spaces. That various folks have, the rights to use them. There is a shed in the back right corner, that has long since been removed. This plan's sort of a couple years old. Shed in the back left corner of this site. Back here, that is currently in place. And this right here is the structure that we're proposing to sort of take down. Next slide, please. So a photo of this structure from the front right corner. It is a very quirky structure, 16 by 24 box. It is a 2-bedroom, less than 900 square foot house. I could not make sense of this. It has a very sort of odd roof line, a low slope roof. It's covered in vinyl, not the good vinyl, but the cheap vinyl. A lot of sort of quirky details to it, none of which are original. And structure has all the windows in the structure are vinyl replacement windows. So the main box does have a brick foundation under it, and that sort of addition to the right there does not have foundation under that piece. We did do some selective interior demolition, and what I was hoping to find was some new bones, some 20th century bones, and we did not find that. We did find that this structure does have some old bones in it, including that side addition, but the back addition, which we'll show you in a second, it clearly has 20th century framing. Next slide, please. So front left corner, this addition in the back here, clearly 20th century framing. That also doesn't have a foundation underneath it. Next slide. So that's 11 center to our right, 5 center beyond, very, very lovely Greek revival beyond that telephone pole. Next slide, please. Some more photos of the house. The two in the back are, showing the rear of the structure. So I think this piece here is older. That piece is clearly a newer add-on. So that is definitely not the footprint that we saw in those early standalone maps. Next slide, please. So just some context photos. We've got a locus map in the lower right. Immediately above that is 11 Center Street. That's the property immediately to our right. Just to the left of that, that is the driveway to the parking for the Compass Rose. To the left of that, that's that lovely Greek revival that I just mentioned. We've got 10 Center Street in the upper right-hand corner. The parking lot for 10 Center Street is the photo in the center and the top, directly across. And to the left of that, it's 18 Center Street, which could use a little bit of love. Clearly in the structure. Next slide, please. There's some more context photos. That's with the building that has the Daily News in it. Next slide. 18 Center. Parking lot, PortMedia. 10 Center. 5 Center again. Photo of the Compass Rose. 11 Center. And that's that common driveway that I pointed out in the site plan. Next slide.
Yeah, so I did try to develop answers to the DOD criteria from the reg ordinances. There are two essential criteria to be discussed. One was that the new construction will not disrupt the essential form and integrity of. And then, of course, we have the subject historic building, the lot where it's located in the setting within the DOD. And we are obviously looking to, or we're not obviously, we're asking to demolish the property. So it's hard for me to justify how I can say that we're not to disrupt that building, whether it's historic or not, which may remain to be determined. But I can't say, given that we're demoing, that the subject, building is being, not disrupted. However, as you'll hear shortly, we do believe that, with respect to the lot and the setting within the DOD and the neighborhood, we are not disrupting that essential form and integrity, but rather with the replacement building and the location on the lot, I think in some ways we are actually, how do I want to say? We're actually making this more historically correct. And then the second part here, the new construction will be compatible with the size, scale, height, color, material, and character of, well, I can't say it's compatible with the subject building because, quite frankly, as Scott explained, that existing building, it's hard to define it. Again, there's questions of its historic significance. But we are proposing a structure that we believe we have used, or Scott, you gave me the language earlier, but we have tried to design a building that is actually consistent with historical designs of that time. And we are putting it on the lot in such a way that I think we are not disrupting the integrity of the way that the house sits. And with respect to the setting within the DOD, we certainly can present to you why we think the way we've done it is essentially compatible with the setting of the other structures within not only within the DOD, but more importantly within our neighborhood directly. So if we could jump to that next slide, please, Caitlin.
I'm sorry, I hate to interrupt your flow here, but this might be, I should have asked this question earlier. Now, is Andy Port with us tonight?
I am.
Andy, so a very key question here, because it's almost like we've got one foot in either camp. We're talking about, a historic structure and not historic. So the zoning determination, that was dated April 25th, or that's the record ID. Does that stand? Because that determination says that they need an advisory review through special permit application. On the other hand, there's this talk of, maybe this fits under the category of those section, 27E exclusions. So can we decide which of those it is, or is it's very confusing?
Well, if I could explain to you, sir, why we're here and why that question has come up, because I did base my filings and my research on the determination letter.
Okay.
Digging in, and it came to light that, this exemption might apply.
Right.
I put it in this presentation, so it could be a topic of discussion tonight. But
Okay.
I didn't want to just put all my eggs in one basket, come here and say, geez, I don't think we need this at all.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think the zoning administrator has reversed or altered the,
No, we haven't asked.
determination, so.
No.
Okay. All right. So that determination is still valid.
Whether that has been revisited or should be revisited, but I don't think that's the case here, that there's any question from the zoning administrator that.
Okay.
Needs to be
All right. So we're going to proceed on the basis that a special permit is required.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. So, again, as we all know, demolition delay is not applicable here. And if it is determined, and again, I put it in here because I figured it would be a great topic of discussion, is that if the existing structure is not contributory, and so the proposal may fall under that section 27E exemption, specifically section 2, which says any alteration or demolition of a building structure or exterior architectural feature that is not a historic building structure or exterior architectural feature would be exempt from requiring the special permit. So, again, we came here today, I did this presentation earlier, all on the basis of the determination, but in the course of our examination and research, this question came to light. And I'll be honest, like some of you, I really struggled with the law is clear, right, if it's contributory. But then I find out, well, what's a minor contribution? You know, so again, gentlemen, I'll be honest, I've never come across this, so I wanted to come in and talk to you about, you know, what does minor contribution constitute, and does it cross the threshold of requiring us to have a special permit?
Yeah, that's why I brought up at the beginning, because it doesn't state either way what we should do with minor contributory.
Yeah, and I'll just add, this is Glenn again. I'll just add that in my many years on this commission, this question in this context we've never had to deal with this. And we're wrestled with, okay, well, is minor contributing? Is that a form of contributing? But on the other hand, in the ordinance, the word contributing is in quotations. So it seems like it's very specific. So anyway, I think, let's just, as we just agreed, proceed as if we needed a special permit and, maybe so let someone else worry about it.
Well, in any event, we will follow up and have further discussion about this. I think, unfortunately, this isn't the greatest forum to be having discussion about the legal interpretation of a whole bunch of, I do think we should have further, it's actually related to a bunch of other discussions that some of us in the room here have had. But again, I don't think that interpretation has changed here for our purposes in the commission's discussions this evening.
I agree. We're gonna finish this up on the basis that we're here for your advisory opinion with respect to a potentially required special permit.
Sure.
All right?
Yeah.
So with that, Scott, if you want to give me the quick, the next slide, please, Caitlin. So this is our proposal.
Yeah, so proposed architectural site plan, and we put this in here because it's usually a little cleaner to see this as opposed to the plan from the land surveys that have a lot of information on it. So due to all the obstacles on this site, really the only place to sort of put a new structure is in the back left corner as you face the lot from Center Street. There is a parcel in the back left corner that is actually owned by 10 Pike here. It's a trapezoidal piece. And we've actually obtained an easement to use that section of the property from the owners of 10 Pike. So this is a 26 by 40 footprint. Our main entrance is located on the front right corner here. We do have a secondary means of egress on the front left corner. There is access around the back of the property. We are planning to put our trash at behind the structure and also sort of our mechanical equipment behind the structure as well. So this is a 4-bedroom bed and breakfast. And what a bed and breakfast is, it's actually sort of a big house with a number of bedrooms. And so the first floor actually has 2 bedrooms for patrons. The second floor has 1 bedroom, and part of the second floor and the third floor are going to actually be for the owner. We are providing in this plan 5 parking spaces, which meets sort of the minimum requirement for this. There needs to be 1 parking space per bedroom plus 2 for the owner. And you'll see on the top right, those are those 4 parking spaces off of Center Street, which various folks own the rights to use those. Next slide. Our client has recently obtained one of those parking spaces. So technically the project has, that plan, 6 parking spaces where 5 is required. Proposed plan from our land survey, because it's just a lot of complex information on this. Kind of hard to sort of filter through all that information, but essentially this plan is identical to that architectural site plan, which is a little easier on the eyes. Next slide, please. So our proposed elevation. So this is sort of a very classic federal style building, really designed to look like it is something that always you know, it was always meant to be in downtown Newburyport. Very repetitive window pattern. You know, each story, the windows get smaller, which is a very sort of traditional way of dealing with windows. Has very traditional details. And a material palette, which is going to be consistent with kind of any of our high-end projects in town. So the elevation on the bottom, this is the front elevation as you would see it from Center Street. Off to the right there, that's our front entrance to the building. Off to the left there, that is that sort of secondary means of egress, which I pointed out in our site plan. There's a small little area on the second floor level where somebody could perhaps sit with a little cafe table. And underneath it, there's also another small area where somebody could perhaps sit and enjoy a cup of coffee. You know, on the top elevation, as you would see the building from the parking area, bottom left-hand corner, that's our main entrance. And this is designed with very sort of low slope, hip roof, really trying to intend to kind of keep the height of this to a minimum. We're 34 feet 6 inches to the ridge and 32 feet some change to the median roof line. And this is a district where the allowable height is 40 feet. But I will point out is that I don't think there are any structures in this immediate vicinity that are 40 feet tall. Maybe two that come close to that, but we're well short of that. Next slide, please. Elevation on the top, this is the left side elevation. That's that sort of secondary means of egress, which I pointed out, and elevation on the bottom is the side of the house with our back to Pike Street. And two doors on the ground floor level there. Those are for the first floor bedrooms. And this is the side of the building where we are proposing to put our trash and our mechanical heating and cooling equipment. Next slide, please. So our rendering from the front right corner, 11 Center Street is off to our right. Just in the lower right-hand corner, that's the common driveway that the folks from 11 Center will be able to use to access their parking spaces back right corner. And off to the left there are those parking spaces off of Center Street. And, of course, the front entrance in the front right corner. And that building beyond is 10 Pike. Next slide, please. Rendering from our front left corner, off to the right, that's 11 Center. So for the purposes of this rendering, we have removed the sign for the Compass Road. So that sign is currently right here, the street plan. Next slide, please. Just as part of our DOD application, we're required to make an window inventory. So this was easy. They're all final replacement window. So
What's the deal?
nothing there.
Semicircular.
Right.
What is the deal with that semicircular one? That's a vinyl as well? The half,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
almost looks like there's like stained glass or something back there.
Honestly, I don't really recall what that looks like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next slide. So we thought we'd put, put the floor plans as part of the presentation, and because what's unique about this project is, Kevin Sava is in the modular business. So the plan is to build this out of modular boxes. So what we're seeing here, and the benefit of that is for the neighborhood. One of the good things about modular construction is the speed of construction. So should this get approved, it's going to go up really, really quickly. And so what we're seeing here is sort of like a modular box on each side with a kind of a double wall in the middle where the two boxes come together. So the first floor is sort of 2 bedrooms. Second floor is 1 bedroom, and half of that is for the owner with the entirety of the third floor being for the owner. Next slide, please. So,
Yeah, let's take a stop. So in designing this project, you can imagine there were a lot of iterations and whatnot. And one of the things that my clients is concerned about or considered was those 4 leased parking spaces that are in the very front of the building. You know, they're not going, they'll live there. And as our design shows, what we've done is added 2 more parking spaces. So there'll essentially be 6 spaces along the front of the house. And, well, Scott, you tell me, especially Kevin, just thought there may be an alternative way to do this. Instead of just having parking spaces, that perhaps we want to build a garage for those 2 spaces. So we just wanted to show you what we were thinking about.
really, I mean, last week, the, team was sort of talking about this, and, we really, came to the conclusion that, we're removing an existing building and replacing it with 2 parking spaces. And, so we gave a lot of thought to what that was gonna actually do to the streetscape, and we realized that perhaps, putting a structure there that actually addressed the street was really sort of like the best thing for the project and the best thing for the street. So next slide, please. So that's what this plan is actually showing. So whereas we our submitted plans, we're showing sort of 2 parking spaces here just out in the open. Now we're planning to put those sort of 2 spaces within sort of a very sort of modest 2-car garage, which is 21 feet wide, like 22 feet deep, and pulling it off the street 3 feet or so we can have a little bit of a planting bed there. The rest of the plan here is identical to what you have just seen. So the only change is the addition of that 2-car garage. Next slide, please. And our 4 elevations of what that might look like. Bottom right-hand corner, this is the front of this garage as you would see it from Center Street. Above that, those are the garage doors as you would see it from our parking area. Immediately to the left of that is the left side elevation. So that would be highly visible, and below that, in the lower left-hand corner, this is the side of the garage that you would see it from the common driveway. Next slide. Okay. So our rendering from basically the front right corner, you can start to see sort of what this does to the streetscape. It really is. This thing is sort of compatible with 11 Center that's right next to it. Has a roof pitch similar to 11 Center. And, we think this is a much better proposal than just having sort of open parking there. Although you can see in the renderings that we really tried to screen that parking with landscaping and a fence. And we really think that this is a better direction for a streetscape standpoint. Next slide, please. Yeah, and finally, this is our last slide, same view that we saw before, except that this one has, 2-car garage there.
So, again, we are obviously seeking a letter or, a letter of recommendation or from you to the board. And we present this alternative, in an effort that if the board was, comfortable with the building, but maybe not with the way it addressed the street and, whether it was reflective of a historical, streetscape. And Kevin thought the garage would be a nice addition. So we present it to you here as food for thought in writing your letter to the board. that if, you know, if you felt this would be a better alternative, you know, we would be happy if you make that determination, because we're willing to do it either way. But again, and I'm probably the least experienced here in terms of historical architecture and settings. But, you know, it just seems to me that the garage being up against the street, closer to the street, and matching the buildings in the street and in the DOD in general, right? We tend to see a lot up on the street. We just thought maybe it would make for a better blend of the neighborhood in terms of historical and, you know, way it sits, especially where our architecture of our proposed building, I think, is, you know, again, historical and in keeping with, you know, many of the buildings in this area. So with that, we are happy to answer any questions you might have. I'm sorry we threw a lot of information at you, but I think it's best to get everything on the table so we can get to the bottom of this.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Yeah, well, I will, go back to our commissioners if anyone wants to,
Yeah.
I have a comment on this. Within the DOD, any construction, any work that's done, it's done to the Secretary of Interior standards. Right here, it's a requirement. It's not a request. It's a requirement. It's being on the National Register. This building does not meet the Secretary of Interior standards for reconstruction, a replica. This is false historicism. And it should be of a more modern design so that there's no kind of misinterpretation from the general public that this is indeed a historical house. Just like up in High Street, there's a couple that everyone says, don't you love that old house? And it's not, it's only like 10 years old. Right? It's called false historicism, and it is in the Secretary of Interior standards doing this. Moreover, it's also, it's way too big for the streetscape there. It really is. I don't think there's even a 3-story building on Center Street. Penn Center is 3 stories. But I mean, that's a pretty large building considering what the houses around there look like, the massing on it. So those are my concerns.
thank you, Chris. Glenn, I think you.
Yeah, so I was trying to say, actually, one of my major thing was that Chris that was just speaking, I think, Chris Sautel?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, okay, Chris. Well, I had very similar sentiments. The way I was going to put it was, it's very imitative of a federal structure. You know, I know Scott Brown, you know, is very familiar with these architectural styles, and he's done a great job of making something look like a federal period structure. But you know, it's sometimes referred to as like the Disneyland syndrome, where, you know, it's imitative, but it's not quite real. But in any event, I wonder, there's a question for Scott. Was there any thought or consideration of avoiding that problem by taking design elements in terms of, you know, the way the fenestration is, the massing, some of the, you know, the ideas of a federal period house or structure, but making it not so slavishly imitative, but more, okay, it's a contemporary structure, but it pays respectful due to the federal period design aesthetic?
Well, like typically we do try to sort of introduce some modern elements, so it's not mistaken for something that's built 200 years ago. And in this particular instance, we don't have, we actually don't have a lot of those, but there's certain things that we can do here. For instance, like that roof over that entry portico, that could be kind of a metal roof in sort of a very modern color. So it's little like moves like that, which I think would help to sort of move this building away from really trying to look like it's something that is like 250 years old. So to your point, we could look at some opportunities like that.
Yeah, I really think that, to Chris's point, I think I didn't see any standards for new construction, but so I'm taking the spirit of the standards for new additions to existing buildings, which are very much along the lines of, yes, you do want to pay, use compatible materials. I'm sure you're familiar with all this stuff, right? But it shouldn't be something that is easily mistaken for something old. The other quick question I had, and this is interior floor plan stuff, so not really, but I'm just curious. I see lots of bed, but I don't see any breakfast. Where are these people going to have their breakfast? All I saw is bedrooms, or unless that was just not in the floor plans yet.
Yeah, thank you. Go ahead.
We have some common space that is adjacent to the entry of the unit where we plan to actually have some of that.
Okay. Let's see. I think that was, and my last comment, and then I'll shut up, is that when you first mentioned about this garage close to the street, my initial reaction was, oh no. But once I saw the rendering, I said, oh yeah, I guess I understand why you want to do that. So maybe that does sort of soften a bit the concern about it. It is that would be pretty much the largest structure on Center Street. That's part of Center Street and so on. So it's funny how that does somehow mysteriously work to sort of soften that a little bit, puts it a little bit more in the background. So that's it for me for now.
Thank you. Go ahead. Anyone else?
I mean, I think this is the urban planner in me, but I will tell you, I have lunch at PortMedia often, and I just yesterday was at that parking lot and looked at the building, not even at this point realizing that was on tonight's agenda. And Center Street's pretty grim, like there's parking lots on both sides of that. To me, the 3-story building being set back about 20 feet from the street, I'm not bothered by the height. And I would welcome the garage because, I think there's a lot of opportunity on that street to move it forward. It's pretty grim, walking down that street right now. So, to my eye, the garage would be a significant improvement.
Anyone else? Alan?
To me, the height is a little problematic. I agree. It seems a fairly tall structure on the street where most things are relatively low. And also, I think Chris's point is, yes, we don't want to look like something that is not a historic building. Right? So maybe some other changes that would help identify as something newer would be helpful. But the lot layout, I think, is fine. To me, and I agree as far as the garage goes. I think it's a good add.
I just want to make a clarification. What I mean by the standards about building something that's falsely historic. Standards say that you can build it, providing that that's a replica of something that maybe was there. An example of this would be like the governor's mansion in Williamsburg that was rebuilt. There was nothing there in the 1920s. Actually, William Perry was from Newburyport, chief architect of St. Paul's Church, rebuilt it. That's fine to do because it was interpreting the building that was there. I want to make that clear. It's not just that you can't do it. There are times when you can do it, but I don't think this is one of them. That's all.
So you're saying more neighborhood specific than sort of out of context for that area. But here's like,
One more time.
so you're more saying it's sort of in the context of the area in the town.
Well, no, it's a context where if, let's say, where the central parking lot is,
Yeah.
then down back Main Street, used to be a huge factory there, giant one, they got granite. That was rebuilt to what was in the pictures. It'll be okay in the Secretary of Standards and Secretary of Standards, because that's a replica of an actual building that used to be on that spot. That's fine, but building something that wasn't there originally to look like something historic is no good, because it's not fooling the public, it's giving the public an idea of something historic that's not. And when we should be actually showing them things that actually are historic and preserving them, it's important. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's absolutely a good point. I really, what we need to be looking at, you know, and I think it's hard sometimes because we want to look at something that's like, that's an improvement over what's there. But our role really should be to look at the language of these ordinances, and so we're looking at the size, the scale, and the height, for example. I do agree, I think the scale and the height is pretty large for the context. I don't think it's insanely large. It doesn't read like as an office building or in some sort of, I mean, it reads as a home. But I do agree that the interpretation, it reads as it's, I could see somebody booking a room here and thinking they were staying in something built in 1800s and then finding out it was built in 2026. So I think that's where that historical kind of fiction, it becomes problematic for me at least, and for the standards. We also I basically need to look at the setback, the rest of the street. I am glad to see the garage addition, because my biggest concern, and I guess I didn't realize how much it was already kind of baked in, but it was all that parking. I mean, that to have, basically a row of parking right in front of any structure doesn't look great. So I think that does help, and it's to have something that's a smaller mass up front, I think does help the overall kind of form of the buildings. And the rest of it, it's like, the materials, the buildings seem to be appropriate. The setback seems to be appropriate. So it's really just, does it maintain the compatibility with the size, scale, height, material, and character? And does it disrupt the essential form and integrity of the lot? Those are the things that I would be discussing. So I think I've got most of those points, but if you guys want to elaborate on that more before we make a motion.
My question is, by right, you could do a 40-foot building. So how do we reconcile that? I mean, this is just, if by right they can do 40 feet, how do we have, I mean, at this point, we're just sort of saying doesn't seem right for the neighborhood. I mean, it feels kind of arbitrary. And I don't know how to think about that.
I see, guys. Hold on just a moment. I'll get to you. Yeah, I mean, I think good point. Well, here, if you guys, it sounds like you guys have some public comment. So if I'm more than welcome to open up a public comment period. Does anyone online or here would like to stand up and make a comment? Please feel free.
Tom Colberjohn, 64 Federal Street.
Thank you.
I am a member of the board of the Newburyport Preservation Trust. The trust strongly opposes the demolition of 9 Center Street. We understand the zoning administrator has determined, subject to appeal, it is exempt from the DOD's prohibition on demolition because it is listed in the National Register of Historic District as a minor contributor. Okay? 9 Center Street is clearly a historic building and contributes to the streetscape. An excellent example of modest working class neighborhood. This gentleman was correct, I believe. Center Street needs a friend. This house needs a friend who would sympathetically restore it, not demolish it. The Historic Commission does not have to agree that the 1984 word minor exempts it from DOD requirements. The Historic Commission's expertise today is needed to determine for the planning board the building's significance and importance in the DOD. One way or another, the demolition of this building is subject to either the DOD or to building demolition requirements. In any case, the Historic Commission must report to the planning board on a replacement building's compliance with the DOD criteria for new construction. What is proposed is not compatible with the size, scale, height, or character of the other buildings in this setting. Its massing would disrupt the essential form and integrity of Center Street. Its design, a fake historic building that could trick viewers into thinking it's actually genuine, like it does on they do on High Street, is contrary to the Secretary of the Interior standards, as this gentleman said. The Preservation Trust asked the commission to report to the planning board on the significance and relative importance of 9 Center Street as part of the procedure for proposed demolition, and to carefully consider the proposed new building in the light of DOD criteria. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Actually, Mr. Chairman, if I may address the planning director.
Sure.
Okay, because just procedurally,
Yeah.
this has been a very difficult meeting.
Yeah,
So I also read the zoning determination as believing I was coming to a meeting to discuss an advisory report in the
right.
process to get a demolition of a building, and so we've gone back and forth on that. But then I've also heard, without any rebuttal from the applicant, that the demolition delay would not apply in this case, and it would.
So I guess, long story short is, I definitely want to have further discussion, and I know you might have had further discussion with Jennifer today, even tonight, but I would like to have further discussion, frankly, with the zoning administrator. Before anything happens here, I think that makes a lot of sense, frankly, one way or the other. I have not been able to have a thorough conversation about this, so.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I guess
I can see the zoning determination that's online, and that's what I'm looking at right here as a starting point, so I would like, any of this discussion beyond this, I would want to revisit that with Erica.
No, I just was asking for clarification. It's my understanding that under your ordinance, the demolition delay does not apply. Is that debate, is that being debated or board questioning?
It's not debatable.
No, I don't see that it applies in the downtown, is the.
Thank you.
I'm
I'm
gonna
sorry,
read from the ordinance.
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay, and by the way, I apologize, I didn't introduce myself, Stephanie Nikitich, 93 High Street. So this is in section, I hate Roman numerals, 27C.3. The provisions of this Article X of Section 5 of the Newburyport Code, building demolition, shall not apply within the DOD except to that category of work excluded from review by the special permit granting authority under this section. Right, so, because if the real determination and agreement of the historical commission is that this building is not subject to the DOD demolition requirements, then it is subject to demo delay.
Agree with that. Agree with that.
Okay,
Thank you.
All right, well. I'm not sure where that leaves us then. I think at this point, I'm not comfortable, moving on at all with this, without further clarification, I guess, from the city as what, how we're supposed to act on this, because, I don't like other folks, trying to run this meeting. I don't really like just kind of the way it's progressing. So I would like to either table this or wait until we have further communication from the city.
Yeah, I propose we table it.
Yeah, if I think I would agree with you in that the board, our commission needs clarification, which is it? Is it a demo delay? Or is it a special permit? Yeah, so I would agree with your sentiment on that.
Sorry, I didn't get to, hear, but I don't know if Glenn's comments as well, but go ahead. So we're looking at section C here, right, number 3. It says there's no demolition delay, the provisions of this, this demolition delay are not going to apply within the DOD, except for categories of work that are excluded from review by the special permit granting authority. In this section, Jennifer, as part of the zoning determination, has said that this needs to go to the special permit granting authority, which is the planning board, correct?
Yes.
Well, that was my understanding of the zoning determination
Right.
that was, that's on file.
Right,
That this was something that had to go through the DOD.
correct,
Okay,
agreed.
okay, so what's been said is, if that's not true, because
Yeah.
there's been this whole argument now that, that this building is exempt from the DOD.
Oh, yeah, no, again, her determination, which stands here, it, says that, right, that's what
Okay.
that's what our starting point is.
So, because I kept hearing that the zoning administrator has said it doesn't because of the word minor.
Well, I don't know whether, again, I'm going off the documentation we have right now, the zoning administrator's determination. I'm not gonna speak for other conversations, others, interpretations others might have here, but that's what I'm working on for right now. I don't, I'm not going any other direction
Okay.
beyond that unless I've had some conversation with the zoning administrator, there's some reason for me to go otherwise. To me, that's where I'm at right now. And as I look at this ordinance here, I'm not saying the demolition delay triggered because the planning board actually has jurisdiction of the review.
Right, but if they didn't, then demo delay would be triggered.
I would agree with that, yes, I would agree with that,
Thank you.
yes, yeah.
If I make a motion to table this to this meeting, if we have other things on the agenda, we could probably just switch discussion going.
I'd take a second of that.
We need
I'll second.
All right,
Mr. Chairman, point of order, if you may.
sure.
It seems the board, first of all, is there a distinction between tabling it and continuing it? Are you suggesting you can table this, or are you just saying we're
I
not?
want to put this on
Well, then I respectfully request, we have filed for a advisory opinion from you based on the fact that the zoning officer has told us we have to go for a special permit. Bottom line, that's how this whole thing has been presented. I probably mistakenly, although it was raised by the chairman before I even brought it, perhaps it was a mistake on my part that I even wanted to introduce that question. I should have probably, but I really wanted clarification from you guys, what this whole minor versus contributory meant.
Well, that's
Okay, but,
exactly what.
but the point is.
I'm sorry, please stop. Everybody, I'm the chair of this, please, can we respect some rules of order here? All right. I don't think we have enough information to make a decent ruling on this, because there's some confusion about minor contributory, what that means. There's confusion about what we should be weighing in on now. And I'm also just not comfortable with the overall demeanor in this room. So I would like to move this to another meeting, or so we can get some more information.
So like a suggestion for a continuation of.
If it's continuation, sir,
I make a motion
I'm-
to continue, I make a motion to continue based upon, for getting further information and clarification.
We need to specify a date certain, so that would be what's the assumption, I don't know if there's any limitations, can't know the dates, but.
March 12th.
Well,
All right, so the motion is to continue this to the March 12th meeting. Do we have
If that's the motion, I'll second it, Biff.
I don't know who.
I made the motion.
Okay.
March 12th.
All right, all in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All not in favor, say nay. All right, that passes. We'll continue for the next meeting.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have a review of preservation restriction at 38 Forester Street.
All right, good evening, everybody. This is Michael Manzi from 38 Forester Street. I talked a couple, oh, sorry.
It makes it like bad.
Hold on one moment, please. Wait
Sure.
for someone to get out. Give me a chance to take a breath as well. All right. 38 Forester Street. Who do we have on the line?
All right, this is Mike Manzi. I talked to you guys a couple weeks ago with my wife, Aaliyah Manzi, for 38 Forester Street. Thanks for taking the time. I know we're at the last 9 minutes here, so I'll try to be as easy, as painless as possible. How's that sound?
That sounds great.
Wonderful. All right, let's go to the what I'm asking for today. If you guys remember, we accidentally swapped out the windows of our home when we first moved in because they were all rotted out, and then we now were told or found out that we were supposed to get approval from you guys first. So we're going back around. We're going to replace the windows that we already bought with better windows. So if you go to slide 2, or sorry, slide 1 shows the house original or as it is when we bought it, basically. Okay, so just give you some idea. Slide 2. Yep, this is what we put in with these Pella 250s. So it's a picture from the outside. You can see I'm trying to get a picture from the outside on the 3rd floor, a picture from the inside, and then a picture of the muttons. These are not 3D muttons. These are STL non-3D muttons, which is the reason that I'm approaching you guys today. So what we're proposing is getting rid of these non-3D Pella 250s with number 3, slide 3. With these Matthew Brothers 3D muttons, they're 5/8 historic putty bead. And so a couple of images there that they have on the website to show you what those what they would look like. And that's our proposal. Can we swap out the old the vinyl, non-3D with newer, more appropriate ones? This is a secondary proposal. I want to stick with slide 3 if we could.
All right.
The link there will go out to the cut sheet should you want to have more specifics, but long story short, it's has the 3D button, so it's STL, but with the 3D.
All right.
So
Board, any questions?
no, not really. Are we looking for a motion to approve or not approve this now, Biff?
Yes.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, I would make put forward a motion to approve the replacement of the existing with these newer, more appropriate windows.
Hold on, I have just a question before we vote on this.
Sure.
This is gonna be for just this window, right? And anything else coming in the future, we're not giving an overall blanket to change all the windows to that, right?
That's not my request.
2 on the
Yeah,
3rd floor.
yeah.
Front and back.
Just those 2 and anything else? Yeah, that's okay, just making sure. Yep, okay.
Okay. All right, so yeah, there is a motion to approve the proposed changed windows. Anyone want to second that?
I'll second.
All right, and all right, Scott,
Yes.
Alan,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Glenn,
Yes,
and Chris.
Yes.
I vote yes as well. So motion passes and you're all set.
Thank you very much. Painless as promised. Have a great rest of your night, everybody.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, and next is 496A Merrimack Street.
Hi there,
Hi.
I'm Trish Whitcomb, 496 Merrimack.
I am here because my house got hit by a truck in December, so that was super exciting. It hit the main support beam, the house is ballooned, so it's falling down. We're going to be, I'm here today because we're replacing the front door, and it's being held to the standard of the door that was put in 10 years ago. It doesn't have a corbel, but it has the 6/6. And we're looking for your help really from this group. I'm a single mom, barely hanging on to my little starter home, and I need to move back in by the end of May. We're doing siding, they're re-engineering the front of the house because the main support beam is busted. They're doing new siding, all consistent with what is there, some of the two sides of the house. But this house was never inspected before I purchased it, which I only found out about a year and a half ago, nor was it inspected before, or was I told in the purchase and sale that it was historic. I bought it because it was, and I'm very happy and I want to keep it the way it is. I just really need to get in by the end of May and would love any help I can get from you guys in quickly approving a door and moving forward so that I can get home.
So what you're looking to replace is just the
Just the door.
Okay.
Just the door. Everything else, the siding will be redone. We're sticking with the green. They are re-engineering the front because again, it's structurally damaged. And eventually I have a grant to get a mini split in. I'll probably be back for that at some point. I just wanted to, I don't even know if it's part of this project. All I want to do is get it structurally safe because I'm in a rental and I can't afford to stay on Plum Island in the summer.
Gotcha.
Do you have pictures of the damage?
Oh, yes. Do you want to see my phone? I mean, it's.
Well, the door, I mean, that you're, so I'm kind of wondering, like, what does it look like now?
It's gutted inside. It had to be because we couldn't stay in it.
Or the door.
The door.
The door on the inside, it was struck right next to it. The frame is damaged. You can't even.
But it's a replacement.
Oh, yes, it's a replacement. The only thing that.
It's a replacement door.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not like we're
Oh, I have no.
like with like.
Like with like.
Yeah.
Okay, I was assuming, with PR that it would be something probably really unique, which was, was concerning, but if it's a replacement, I think as long as it's a replacement.
Yeah, if you're-
in kind.
If you're strictly replacing in kind, then I don't even know that that work would be subject to the preservation restriction.
It doesn't have a corbel.
This is the existing.
That's the existing one.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have the stained glass in it and it doesn't have the
yeah.
corbel because
But that-
they get dirty. And that was what, and I don't like it. It's dirty.
Oh, okay, so it's not exactly in kind, so it would,
How-
we would need to approve it.
How is the door frame around it? Was that damaged as well?
Yes, as you can see at the bottom, that's my
Oh.
linens keeping the cold air
Okay,
out.
so those are gonna have to be replaced or rebuilt?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
and is that wood or is it AZEK or, do you know?
I'm not sure.
Not sure.
Not sure.
Oh.
I mean, what I am trying to do, I believe I got a fiberglass door that I ordered just for.
Yeah, that wasn't my really big, my thoughts was the white frame around it.
Yeah,
And if that was damaged and would have to be, replaced, obviously.
Yeah.
The pieces that were damaged and they should be replaced in kind, so if they're wood, it should be wood, if they're PVC. In the same dimensions,
yes,
everything, and if there was a piece that wasn't damaged, please leave it on. That's
Yeah.
my only request.
Yeah.
That's all.
I'd love to show you the videos. It's so fun.
Oh.
It was a great work day.
Okay.
Listening to that. I knew there was a hole in my house because the voices were so clear. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Sweet.
So, all right, so we're basically just looking for approval of the replacement of this door. Anyone wanna make a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Provided that it's in kind, wood,
Yes.
All right, so, motion to approve the proposed work under the protection of the preservation restriction for the structure at 469A Merrimack Street?
496.
Yeah,
Just
four
wanna make
ninety,
sure to-
oh, yes. 496, thank you. Did it. 496A. All right,
Was there a second?
no, I think we already had that.
Okay.
Scott,
Yep.
Alan,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Glenn,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
I vote yes as well, so it's approved.
Thank you very much,
Good luck.
gentlemen. Hopefully I won't have to be back. And
Yeah.
See you.
Oh,
yes,
Thank you.
Move forward.
Okay, let's see, we have approval of minutes from the 12th. Anyone have any issues or see any problems with it? Motion to approve the minutes? Anyone?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. And a second,
I'll second.
Scott?
Yep.
Alan?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Glenn?
I think I was absent that meeting, Biff.
Okay, abstaining? Okay, Chris?
Yes.
I vote yes, so that passes. And the minutes are approved. Updates from me, well, that was a fun one. We got our books
Yes.
and we signed off on that.
Yes.
I'll just, I don't wanna extend this meeting any more than we need to. I'm trying to look for the.
Did we ever, did the chair and vice chair ever get voted for this year?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
I missed it, huh? Okay.
Yeah, big changes.
Okay, take all the change.
We can go get Glenn your share again.
Yeah, we gave it back to you, both roles.
Oh, no.
He's gonna bring us back again.
No, we're staying put.
Excellent.
But when we'd been talking, Chris Sotel and I had been talking a lot last couple of weeks about numerous things. I've had a couple different counselors approach me and email a couple of us about the proposed changes they're gonna be made, they wanna make to our ordinances, which a lot of was what we've been talking about as far as kind of giving us more teeth, giving possibly more time on demo delays and possibly moving it back to 50 years instead of 75 years for historical significance. So that's good news, and I think there's counselors.
That's going to the council Monday night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
It's gonna go to committee for discussion.
So I'm excited that there's kind of people from, I would say, sort of several factions that are seem to be for it, so I'm glad to see that. But I didn't want to, when I was looking through these things, we were talking about them, there really is like 10 kind of rules, and I just want to run through them real quickly, just because I do think it's interesting.
Are they in the book?
Yeah.
Are they in the book?
But this is for standards for rehabilitation, because that's the thing, there's rehabilitation, there's renovation. And what's the other one?
Alteration, is that the same?
Restoration.
Yeah, I don't have space in it, it's getting late, but it's a property shall be used for its historic purpose, or if it's changed, it should be make minimal change to the defining characteristics. The historic character of property shall be retained and preserved. Each property shall be recognized as a physical record of time, place, and use. Changes that create a false sense of historical development, such as adding conjectural features or architectural elements from other buildings, shall not be undertaken. That's what we were talking about earlier. Most properties change over time. These changes that have acquired historic significance in their own right shall be retained and preserved. So we're looking at stuff that's, oh, that was an add-on, but now it's got its own significance. But go through there, and I mean, I'm not gonna go through all 10 of these, but like I was saying earlier, I think it's really key that when we're having these discussions, that we stay away as much as possible from, you know, feelings and emotions and.
Judgment, I think,
Right.
wouldn't it be nice if?
Opinions.
Right,
Yeah.
and because we've got it, it's all here for us to say, no, it's too big compared to the other things, not, I think it's too big.
Yeah, we're really referees and umpires, this is what.
Right.
Foul.
So yeah, look through these when you can.
Ten Commandments though.
It just, it doesn't say 10 commandments.
So if to that discussion on Center Street, you know, by right, they could put a 40-foot building there. Yet we're saying, oh boy, that feels too big, it's out of scale. So what are we?
Oh,
what-
well, no, I think the by right part they were talking about was, that it's a bed and breakfast.
And
No, they said something about that they could build
No,
it
yeah.
if they wanted to.
He says that the minimum, maximum.
Yeah,
So he was saying we're 32 feet, so we're probably.
what is allowed, there's like massing, but I think that's zoning.
One thing that strikes me in that
No.
discussion was, I think you handled it well, Bill, if we had some stuff.
I'm sorry about that.
No, you had to stop, and pause, it was gonna get hotter and hotter and go on for hours. Was kind of a new guy at this one, but I'm listening to, talk when something was done a number of years ago or whatever. So there is the creep factor. I like extreme examples, although we never to the point of extreme. It could become Disney.
Yes.
Yeah.
All it takes, if one goes, you do another one, because there's only one, we just say,
Right.
it looks good on the street.
Yeah.
Then there's another one, then there's another one, and before you really could build Disneyland.
Yeah.
You really could.
Well, and I think that's what Chris was getting to.
Yeah, that's
earlier, is
absolutely
that
true.
we,
There
was
not that
11
hard
of
to do it.
and now there's only a couple, and now they're being replaced by things.
And the
That
other
look
thing is,
like-
it's part of this whole McMansion discussion too, is that, I forget the gentleman from the.
John Collins, Jim.
Yeah, they just spoke was the fact that, there was at one time, there was a certain modesty to Newburyport. And you gotta be careful not to slaughter it.
Well, and I think that streetscape, is an example of that, that it was, a lot of that was built up when stuff was getting hard. We were talking about that, like the end of the boat building.
Yeah, when boat building ended, this was when that
And the
started.
mills started to get some stuff, so they were building lots of small little homes so that somebody could afford a house and
Right.
walk to work. Wouldn't that be amazing? But yeah, but I, like I said, I think the more that we can go back to these standards.
Yeah,
And-
you gotta work at preserving some of that stuff.
All right,
In the comments. So how does that work, when someone comes in and says, yes, I can build something 40 feet? And
They could say it here, but it may be a different story when they get in front of the ZBA.
okay. I got it.
So when people say, well, by right, I can do this. Say, well, we're not challenging
No, no,
that. ZBA may challenge you that.
And we had someone before talking, in was sort of acting that way. And I think the comment was, so we can write a letter to the planning board saying, we don't recommend you approve such a thing.
Yeah.
But it's very over to the body that we.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Right,
Let me just make one more point. Did you guys understand what I was talking about, like false historicism?
Yes,
Yeah, totally.
That's really important, really important.
That's why I said it could be, if you use an extreme example, it's not out of the question.
Yeah.
That, in a 5 or 10 year window.
Yeah.
And nobody knows.
Yeah, well, that's why I used the example of Williamsburg with the Capitol. The Capitol was non-existent. It's probably something like a tenement built there. And so when it was rebuilt exactly what it looked like. And that was for interpretive purposes.
Right.
So of something that doesn't exist, like think you see it, that's acceptable to Secretary of Standards. But to
Right.
build something that wasn't there like that,
Yeah, I get it, totally, yeah. Okay,
that's all.
make a motion, we adjourn, Tiff?
sure.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. All not in favor? All right, motion passes, meeting adjourned.
Hey, how do I get this book you guys talked about?
$20.
Wise guy.
Overlook your house.
You're gonna come to City Hall and fill out the sign out form and then it's
Seriously, can I swing by at some point and pick one up at City Hall, Andy?
Yep.
Or Caitlin? Okay. I'll try and work that into my schedule. Thanks.
I have to go in, I have to get
Night.
sworn in again for CP.